Alright guys, today's concept is ugly and delicious. The perfect candidate for that is Kimchi Jjim. When you cook it, it's very hard to look pretty. I mean, it looks countryside, but the flavor is cosmopolitan. It's amazing. So if you've recently made kimchi and you got a lot left over in the fridge, check this one out. You're gonna really dig it, and it's gonna really draw out the flavors of kimchi, and it's gonna be something else. Alright, so whatever I come up from my grandma's house in the countryside, she always packs me this a lot. So this is what's left over. Alright. This kimchi's been fermenting for about a month. So as kimchi ages and sits longer in the fridge, it turns more sour. So, woo! So in Korean, we call one whole head of cabbage pogi. So you can see this is 1/4 pogi. And I measured 1/4 pogi for you guys already, and that comes out to roughly 2 standard cups of kimchi. I want to cut this pogi down in half. And the reason I cut it is because the Napa cabbages are very wide, and later if it's much easier to eat if it's this width here. So my fingers are already turning orange. Nice! And guys, we really want to work with aged kimchi. Don't use the fresh ones. Just doesn't have deep enough flavor profile yet. 4-arm piece of spring onions. And next, if you like meat, let's use some pork chops. We're only gonna need 2, so about 200 grams. Here, slap it in, very nice. I'm gonna do 3 tablespoons of mirin, just to get rid of the porky smell. You can skip this step. Koreans in general don't like any of the porky or meaty, like gamey smell coming from their meat. And if you're vegetarian, tofu works great with braised kimchi. Just cut this in half. And this one, I'm going to just cut into thirds. Good. I actually am going to use both, but since it's a lot, I'm going to only use the top layer. If you're just using tofu, use all of it. Okay? And after about 10 minutes, we're going to just give these guys a chop. Is it just me, or does that look kind of intimidating? We're going to put this on a medium heat. I'm going to just spread out the leaves here. 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. All right, and let's put it around the pan. All right, 2 tablespoons in. This is a lot of kimchi. And we're gonna saute this kimchi first in sesame oil to really concentrate that flavor. You guys can give this a flip. And guys, we're gonna keep it in the pan until the leaves start to turn sort of golden in color. Again, ugly, but soon to be delicious. All right, so you'll see that it changed colors a little bit. At this point, put in the pork pieces. So now you see some of the kimchi is developing a slight char. This is exactly what we want. And we just keep letting it cook. And guys, since we're using aged kimchi, it's pretty sour. So we need to balance out that profile. And the best thing is to use brown sugar. 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. It's better than white sugar because that one's just too sweet. And by now, the pork on the outside should be cooked. It's still raw on the inside. And at this point, we're gonna add in some water, okay? I have 2 cups of water, and we're gonna pour. Just enough water to barely submerge the kimchi. And here, we're going to raise it up to a medium high. And the next ingredient is patience. We're going to just wait until all of this kimchi liquid here is almost gone. And now you'll see large bubbles here because there's not that much liquid left here. Pour in 2 cups of water again. And now we're going to repeat the same thing. We're going to wait until all of the water disappears again. In Korea, we commonly say that kimchi jjigae tastes best the next day. And in essence, we're doing the same thing here. We're trying to get all of the flavors from the broth into the kimchi. All right, large bubbles again. We're going to fill it up one more time. I'm going to do 2 cups of water. And this will be our last. Good. Now you're going to see how beautiful this kimchi tastes later. And since this is the 3rd time we put water in, I'm going to put our tofu pieces. Okay. Spring onions as well. Save a little bit. And for the final reduction, we only want the water to reduce by half, and we'll stop. We're not going to wait until it goes all the way to the bottom. And guys, I forgot to mention, as you're cooking, make sure to sample the soup. After the first pour of water, taste the soup. You're gonna taste it and be like, there's something missing. It doesn't taste like that kimchi jjigae flavor I know. And after the second one, it's gonna taste better. And after the third one, it's gonna strike home. And finally, guys, I think we've reduced to about half the liquid after the third pour of water. And we're gonna slide it in here. We'll get some of the tofu pieces up front, pork pieces on the side as well. Get some of the kimchi broth, and we just give it a nice pour over. We're gonna add just a little bit of spring onions over the top here. All right, guys, here's the ugly part, but let me show you the delicious part now. Before we eat, I can cut off the stems here. That's connecting all the kimchi together. Grab one of the kimchis. Oh gosh. And guys, this is a leveled up kimchi. It's gonna take you to the moon. The large piece of kimchi like this, to someone you like, you just split it down the middle like that, rip it up. This is such a Korean way of eating. Get it on some rice. You can chase this down with some pork pieces or mix it up with the tofu. This is what it's all about. Look at that kimchi. Oh gosh, it's a lot of kimchi. Oh my gosh. Man, this is really nice. This taste brings me right back to my grandmother's house in the countryside. Now I was thinking about how to describe this. I was thinking when you have shabu shabu, you know how the broth is kind of like, whatever's in the beginning. But as you start to keep reducing it, that sauce becomes nice. Almost sometimes even too salty. Now imagine all that flavor, that broth flavor, being soaked into one vegetable. And that basically is Kimchi Jjim. And your homework for this week, whether it's through eating kimchi or eating jjimmed kimchi or whatever it is, you find some spice in your life this week, okay? See you guys.